Hello my lovely, and welcome back to my channel. In today's video, I wanted to share with you how you can do a mid-year life audit and how you can set your goals for the next 6 months. That way you can set goals, achieve them, and start creating and living your dream life. If you're ready, let's jump right in. So what is a life audit and why do you need to do one? A life audit is basically taking a moment to take into account where you are in your life right now. That way you can understand where you need to go and where you want to go. Think about it. If you're going on a road trip and you're trying to get to point B and trying to get to point C, you need to know where you're starting. That way you can create a roadmap to get to point B and then get to point C. It's the same thing with your life. If you want to know where you need to go, if you want to understand what future you want to create for yourself, then you need to know your starting point. That way you can gauge and assess and figure out what it is that you need to do to get to your final destination. So that is what a life audit is. By doing a life audit, you are being honest with yourself about where you are in your life and seeing what are the lacks, what are the gaps, what are the things that are missing in your life. But it's also about cultivating gratitude about what you already do have. It's not only about criticizing and judging and being negative about what you're missing out, what you're missing in your life and what is lacking, but it's also about taking into account of all the blessings that you do have. And that is what a life audit is. Simply put, is just putting things in perspective, taking into account where your life is now. That way you can understand what you need to do and the changes that you need to make to create the future that you want for yourself, to create your dream life and to achieve your goals. It's about understanding where you are so that you can fix the gaps, that you can address the gaps, and that you can fix the issues and the things that are missing in your life. That way you can feel happier and create a more meaningful and intentional and purpose-driven life. So now you're probably wondering, okay, great, Sebi, let's get on with it. How do I do a life audit? Well, I created a questionnaire and a wheel of life to help you guide you through the process of doing a life audit for yourself right now. The questionnaire is a mix of qualitative and quantitative questions, so questions that you can score or questions that you just have to fill in a short answer. And then there's also a wheel of life where you will input all your scores. The questionnaire is split into 3 categories: your mind, your body, and your soul, which represents obviously your life as a whole. And under each of the 3 categories, there are also 3 subcategories. So the questionnaire is split into 3 categories and the 3 subcategories, and under each of the subcategories, there are questions that will guide you through giving a final score for each of the 3 subcategories. Once you have a score for the 3 subcategories, you will enter it into the wheel of life, which is a circle, obviously because it's a wheel. But once you have all your scores input and you draw out the circle, you will see visually what are the gaps, what areas in your life that are lacking, what are the areas that you might need to address. So by doing this, by giving yourself a visual of your wheel of life, of the main categories in your life, we're talking about body, we're talking about health, we're talking about finances, we're talking about relationships. Once you get a visual of where you are right now in your life, it will become easier to see visually what the gaps are. And what that does is that it will help you guide what you need to set goals around. It will give you a visual of the gaps in your life and the things that might be lacking and the things that you might need to address when it comes to setting and achieving your goals. And the idea behind the wheel of life is that everything in your life has to be balanced for the carriage to run smoothly. Think about it. If you have a flat tire, does your car run smoothly? No, it's the same thing with the wheel of life. If you don't have a perfect circle, then your life will not be as balanced. What you want is to create a more circular wheel of life to make sure that all areas in your life are all as balanced as possible. If you see a big dip in one of the subcategories, then you know that might be something that you need to address. You might not have realized it, but it might be something that is stressing you out or something that you need to address and that you might have been avoiding. So the wheel of life will give you a better visual, a better glimpse into your life, and it's a life audit. You are basically taking into account all areas in your life. That way you can address it more holistically and you can see what the gaps are and what you need to do to address it. So now that you've done your life audit, what I want you to be doing next is to set goals for the next 6 months. We are mid-year now and it's the perfect time to set goals for the next 6 months. That way in 2020 you can achieve some of your goals and start creating and living your dream life. Now, how do you set goals? I want to teach you how to set inspired goals, which is different than traditional goals in the sense of we're going to be working backwards. Instead of saying, what do I want? You're going to be asking yourself more inspired questions to guide your goals. So you've done your life audit, you see what the gaps are, so now you have a better idea, and you have to be honest with yourself, but you have a better idea of what goals you need to be setting to create a more balanced wheel of life. You will have a better idea of what goals you need to set for the next 6 months to create a happier and more meaningful life, and that starts with setting inspired goals. Now, if you want to set inspired goals, I do have a free workshop for you where I guide you through the 3 inspired questions that you can ask yourself to set your inspired goals. That way you can start achieving them and create a more happier and meaningful life. And like I said, inspired goals is not about what do I want, it's more meaningful than that. It's about starting to ask yourself, how do I want to feel? Who do I want to be? What kind of contribution do I want to make to the world around me? What is the type of life that I want to live instead of what do I want? The what do I want will come with time. You will figure that out. But once you have a better idea of the person that you want to be, the life you want to live, and the emotions and experiences that you want to live, then you will be able to figure out the what. Once you understand the inspired reasons of the type of life that you want to live, you will be able to set more inspired and meaningful goals. For me, the perfect example that I always give is weight goals. Initially, when I started my weight loss journey, my goal was to weigh a certain weight, was to have a certain type of measurement, and was to fit in a certain number of size of pants. In the end, my goals changed because when I set inspired goals about how I wanted to feel in my body, when I decided I wanted to feel confident, I wanted to feel strong, I wanted to be healthy, when I set inspired goals around my body, what happened? My focus changed towards something more meaningful, more inspiring, and a lot more purposeful than how I wanted to look. When I started to focus on creating more confidence, then the what became more clear. Confidence is about me having the confidence to go into the gym and to work out. Confidence means feeling good in my body and loving myself no matter what. The weight loss came down the line regardless. But when I set inspired goals that was more meaningful and more inspiring and more empowering, then it was a lot more easy to set my goals and to actually achieve them and to find more meaning and more happiness in the process rather than focusing on the what. So I hope that I inspired you to do your life audit first and then to set your inspired goals for the next 6 months and to create a strategy on how to actually achieve them. So if you want to do the life audit first, I will leave the link in the description box below for you to sign up to watch the workshop. There is a free worksheet that comes with it as well. So that is step number 1. And then step number 2 will be to actually set your inspired goals. So step number 2 after the life audit is to look at the workshop to actually set your inspired goals, set those meaningful, inspiring, and empowering goals for yourself for the next 6 months and to create a strategy to achieve them. I will leave the link to the workshop that I created for you as well in the description box. Give yourself a time limit, give yourself a goal to do both of these, a life audit and the inspired goal setting workshop in the next week. Set your goal and just get it done. It's the middle of the year. We have 6 months until the end of the year. I want you to achieve your goals. I want you to start creating your dream life. I want to hear you feel happier and to create a more meaningful and purposeful life. And it all starts by doing a life audit to take into account and understand where you are right now, and then setting inspired goals that make you feel a lot more inspired and empowered and that are a lot more meaningful than just saying, what do you want? So I hope that this video was useful. Let me know if you have any questions in the comments below. I will leave all the links to the resources that I mentioned in this video for you in the description box. If you have any questions, I'm always available to help you. Until next video, bye for now.